Hey guys, this is GrandJ and I'm here talking to you about Evolve. So last weekend we just got to play the Evolve closed beta and the game is going to release just around the corner at February 10th. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of what I think about the game. So far Evolve has been really fun to play. It's been a real big fresh breath of air in terms of the FPS scene. How there's been so many releases in the last 6 months or so, and they've all been somewhat lackluster. Everything from your Call of Duties to your Titanfalls been very similar, but Evolve has been a real new take on the FPS genre. Evolve is a game about you playing either as a team of 4 hunters or playing as a monster in a huge battleground map. It introduces a Left 4 Dead style of gameplay mixed in with FPS raid boss style gameplay. You can even play as one of the 4 hunters that are classed between Trapper, Assault, Support, and Medic, or you can play as one of the monster bosses and fight the hunters. It's a unique first-person shooter experience mixed in with a raid boss style of gameplay, quite similar to a lot of raid bosses. The different classes all have their own specializations and they all play very differently. So it's really important for team members to work together and cooperate to get the maximum effectiveness during their game. So amongst the 4 classes, you have your Assault, which is your heavy damage dealer, but also your frontline tank. Then you have your Trapper, which is vital to being able to put an arena bubble to stop the monster from escaping, and so you can fight it head on. The Support player is your defensive utility based player who can shield your team and defend and protect their team as they're fighting the monster. And then of course the Medic, which is your healer, but generally the Medic also has additional other relevant abilities such as CC, slows, and so on. So it's a really nice mix of gameplay mechanics. Every class can feel relevant in every team fight and contribute to the game throughout the entire process. I played a lot as each different class, and I did enjoy playing Support and playing Trapper a fair bit, but definitely when I played the Medic class, you aren't playing such a passive role as what you think a Medic would be. You're not just standing back and healing your team, you're actually doing a lot of stuff as well. You have the ability to slow, you've got the ability to debuff the enemy monster. Medic has a lot of relevance in combat as well as having a lot of relevance outside of combat. At the same time, the Trapper and Support, they also have a lot of relevance outside of combat as well, with Support having good reconnaissance and surveillance abilities and Hunter having a lot of other abilities as well that are relevant outside of battle and not just setting traps. So each class has a lot that they can offer both inside and outside of combat, and it makes each member feel valued and very important. At the same time, I got to play with the monsters a fair bit and I really enjoyed that gameplay as well. Playing as a monster, you got to play as effectively a dungeon master in a map. You would roam around a large map using stealth as much as you can to lose hunters on your tracks, and you would go around the field killing these neutral creatures, feasting on them to level up. As you level up and you gain health and you gain armor, you develop and level up your skills. So as you level up and evolve your monster, you get increased skill points that you can use and you get increased damage. So evolving is really fundamental to winning as a monster player. So playing as a monster, it's like a game of cat and mouse, where a large part of the early game you are trying to lose the hunters that are trying to follow you, as well as trying to prey upon as many neutral creatures as you can in order to gain as much energy as you can and eventually evolve to higher ranks where you can deal more damage. Throughout this entire process of running around and capturing monsters, you have to avoid the hunters as well as fight the hunters when they do inevitably catch you. It's a lot of very interesting new gameplay mechanics and a lot of interesting situations that you as a monster have to deal with. So I think it's very interesting, it's very deep, and it's an excellent foundation for a very good co-op as well as PvP type game. At the same time, there's quite a few monsters as well. So there's only 3 monsters on release at the moment, but when you pre-order the game, you get the 4th monster unlocked a little bit later. So you have your brawler type monster, which is your Goliath. You have your magey castery sort of monster known as the Kraken, and then you have your rogue type character, which is your Wraith. and each monster plays very differently. They all offer a lot of different unique gameplay styles, and I think each of the monsters is going to resonate with different players and their gameplay styles. So there's going to be a lot of depth and a lot of good quality to playing Evolve. Personally, I enjoy playing the monsters a lot more because I enjoyed this sort of stealth gameplay and leveling up and fighting hunters on an uneven playing field. But then again, a lot of players will probably resonate with playing as a hunter as well. So effectively, when you think about it, you're getting really 2 games in one. You can either play it as a hunter or play it as a monster and get the value of both. So it's a fun game to play, and it's a little bit for everyone as well. So far from what I've seen in the betas that I've played for it, it's got some really good online matchmaking systems. If you played any sort of online MOBA game such as Smite, Dota, or League of Legends, you know that getting into a game lobby and choosing your positions is one of the hardest things you can absolutely do in the game. But Evolve solves all of that. Evolve has got a really cool class prioritization mechanic where you can choose between the different classes that you want to play as, and you put them along the slider, and then the game will matchmake you into a group according to the priorities and the types of games that you want to play. It's been a really good matchmaking experience. I was able to jump into a lot of games, and I was able to play a lot of the classes that I really wanted to. It's a great way to solve a lot of these team position type disputes, and I'd like to see a lot of other games take this on as a mechanic. But so far it's been really good, and I've enjoyed it a lot. Though when you play this game online with randoms, you can sometimes find that the game is a little bit frustrating to play, as everyone on the team has to contribute to the overall success of the team. And if you have a player who kind of wanders off alone or gets himself killed or doesn't really know how to play their character, then the whole team suffers a lot, and it can be a little bit of a struggle sometimes to communicate or carry that player because combat is so frantic. I think this is going to be one of those games where you can have some very casual and fun games with random players online, but I think you're really going to enjoy the success of this game when you play it together as a team. Testing this game when we were playing it at a lot of live events such as PAX and EV Expo, we got to play this game live with other players, and we were able to play it with headsets and with voice chat on, and it was a really great experience, really great tactical experience. And I think that whereas a lot of games such as like Dota and League of Legends, having the online chat is relevant, but I don't think having the online chat is nearly as fun or as immersive as playing this game with online chat as well. So I think if you have a couple of friends and want to play this together, you're going to have an excellent time. It's really enjoyable and probably has better co-op than Borderlands. Now, I love the Borderlands franchise, but I think that this has a better, more cohesive co-op player experience. So on top of all of this, the game also has quite a bit of lastability. Outside the fact that it's mostly a multiplayer game, multiplayer games have basically infinite playability, but there's a lot of unlockable perks and achievements that you can get by playing this game. There's a lot for the completionists to find in this game, and there's a lot of variety as well. So far from what I've seen, there's going to be 12 hunters and there's going to be 4 monsters, well, 3 on release and the 4th one coming up pretty soon after. So there's a lot of variety. Of course, there's going to be different synergies that good teams can make use of, as well as counter-picking monsters and so on. As for this game, there has been a lot of debate recently in regards to the DLC and the future maps of this game, and they do say that they will be charging DLC for additional hunters and additional monsters. I think that's a little bit annoying that they've announced this before the game is released. It makes you think that how many of their good ideas they're saving for later on, and it's effectively milking you for another maybe half or quarter of the game later down the track. But you do not need to purchase the DLC in order to play with teammates who have purchased the DLC. Evolve basically said, hey, all the DLC maps will be absolutely free and available to everyone, which is great. They said that anyone who purchases their own DLC hunters or DLC monsters, that's going to be separate, and they can play it in whatever games that they want, and players will not be disconnected or booted out of a lobby for playing against whatever monsters or hunters that they do not have access to, whereas their teammates can play them. So basically, you're under no compulsion to buy any of the DLC, but of course, anyone who wants to play the new character or wants to enjoy the extra content can of course pay for that. So I think that's a pretty fair system, except for the fact that they've already planned for it. But it does make you feel that maybe you're not getting your full retail's value worth of money from the purchase straight up, but oh well. A couple of last notes before I'm going to sign off here. There does seem to be a little bit of balancing issues. So Wraith was recently just unlocked for the closed beta and did seem a little bit OP or strong at the moment. Quite a lot of players have complain about its massive OPness. I played against it in one match, and we got wrecked. We got destroyed, and we had no idea how to defeat the Wraith. I think that's going to be something that they can definitely nerf or buff or change a little bit later down the track, and I don't think that's going to be a major problem. All games, when they come out of early release, they're always going to be slightly imbalanced because there's no way they can balance it all. I think they're probably going to make some adjustment changes with the Wraith before they release the game officially, and I think Evolve is going to have a good online support. If they're going to be supporting it through DLC and they're going to be supporting it through competitive play, then definitely nerfs and buffs are going to be high on their priority list. Talking about competitive play, their website has communicated that they will be supporting Xbox tournaments for this game and trying to build it as an esport, and I think that this game honestly has very good qualities to it that make it a good esport game, and I think that that's potentially a very good way to go. It'll be very interesting to see how this game takes off as a competitive esport. I think that it's got a lot of depth. I think it's got a great strategy to play as an esport, and I think it's got good foundations for an esport. The only thing I think that's going to hinder or benefit its esports side is whether or not it's going to have local support. If players can't get private lobby and play against other players, even if it has to be online, to not be able to set up a private game is really going to hinder its esports effectiveness. So if they can have private lobbies where you can set up your 5 mates. Titanfall made this mistake last year. Titanfall had excellent gameplay. It had the problem of not having the best online anti-cheat support, and it didn't have private lobbies, and that's what really killed it as a potential esport game. But I think Evolve, they've really planned ahead, and hopefully they've got these functions built into it, so I think it's going to be good. I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for me. Overall, I think that Evolve is a great game. I've been enjoying the little amount of time that I've been able to play it. I've played on several occasions and I've enjoyed it every single time. I think it's going to be an excellent online cooperative experience. So if you have friends that were into first-person shooters, if they're interested in, say, CSGO, or if they're interested in, say, like the Left 4 Dead franchise back when that was out, then they're probably going to have a great time playing this. Yeah, I would not hesitate to buy it, play it, see what it's like, and if you really enjoy it, pick up some of the DLC later on. But otherwise, I think it's going to be a great fundamental game, and fingers crossed there's not going to be any day one connection issues, because that will really hinder the goodwill of this game. But if they manage to execute well, then I have no doubt that these guys are going to do very well with this game, and I hope you guys check out Evolve, and I hope to see you guys online. It comes out on February 10th, so get on it. This has been GrandJ talking about Evolve, signing out.